Joe Simpson, thank you so much for joining us on the Poly's WebXR Awards virtual red carpet. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And you launched a website last year called the Extended Collection, where you are curating some of the best content on the immersive web. Talk a little bit to that.
It was actually listening to the Voices of VR podcast recap of the WebXR Awards last year, where Ben had talked about just wanting to do something for the community. And at that point, like just hearing him say that, like, I've got something that I could do. It's a small thing, but I've already got all of the stuff that I've been working on. I know how to make websites. So I threw together a website and launched it in May. And it's just a small thing. It's not really an ambitious project. It's just kind of a personal thing that I do in between other stuff. It's not meant to be a repository of all things WebXR. It's just the stuff that I find appealing personally. So if you're wondering what the word curation has to do, it's literally curated by my taste and the things that I find compelling in VR and to some extent AR. So yeah, that's what the Extended Collection is.
What are some of the developments you wish to see in either the projects that are being developed or the immersive web as a whole?
So aside from the stuff that I curate on the collection, my interest lies mostly in UI development, spatial interfaces. I struggle using a computer. I've got some RSI issues. I've got some issues with my spine. So using a traditional mouse and keyboard all day is just a disaster for me. So I'm making myself use a mouse and keyboard so I can make some WebXR experiences that I can then replace some of my current workflows in VR. So I've recently thrown myself into Babylon.js using their 2D and 3D tools where I can create some pretty amazing stuff with minimal effort. So that's going to be my big focus this year, is making interfaces, spatial interfaces to work with data, not just like, I'm not talking about just putting like a menu or UI on top or in front of a VR app that you go into. I'm talking about the place that I'm making is about modifying data and working with data. So that's the stuff that kind of gets me excited. I don't think there's very many people that are excited about that in the way that I am, but we'll see.
I'm really excited to see what you're coming up with the version 2 of Extended Collection in 3D. It's super exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Joe, for being here today with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for contributing so much to the WebXR community. And we look forward to seeing you at the show today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.